Why did Kid Flash join the running team?
Great question.
To make himself more attractive? The greatest DC Comics show on YouTube is here. You found Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Welcome to it. Hope you've had a great week. I'm joined by Signature King Tony, the Royal of Foils. How are you?
I'm great. Nice and warm this weekend.
Yes, I'm enjoying that. What did you do? Did you go to your LCS at all in the past week?
I did. Wasn't much in the box, but
okay.
I got some cool stuff.
That's cool.
Saving some cash for a big trip coming up.
Oh, nice. Well, that's always a good idea.
Yeah.
So I went to a town about 45 minutes away today that I've never been to. And they have 3 comic book stores in this town, but one of them was closed. I knew that going in, but I went anyway today, and I had a fun time. Went all by myself. Just did a little hunting and found a few things. They had an Ollie's over in that town, so I wanted to see if their Ollie's was different than the Ollie's here in my town. And it was.
In a positive way or a negative way?
They had some of the same things. They had more than what my town had. So, and there's something
physically bigger store?
No, I wouldn't say it's bigger. It definitely was laid out different. But in terms of like what we're interested in, they had more. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was fun. So,
nice.
Yeah. So tonight's show, speaking of fun, is going to be a lot of fun because we have a special guest tonight. I know, we are so blessed to have another great guest. And, you know, when I think about people that we need as guests on Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, this is a DC dude all the way. It's 100%. So he's always on the top of my list. And it's been a little while since I've had the chance to stream with him. But I'm so happy that he's here. Get ready to get Berk nasty because Steve from Berk Family54 Comics is here. Hi, Steve.
What's going on, man? It's morphin' time, dude.
It is. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk some DC Comics, my favorite comic books out there. In fact, if you watch my channel, you know that I only pull DC, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, and that's it. No Marvel. So
yeah, we don't make yours Marvel. No, not at all. I wore the jacket tonight just for you, and I didn't even have it on backstage because I didn't want you to see it ahead of time. You know how hard it is to do a costume change while the intro plays? Now I know what it feels like to be Reba McEntire.
You know, I noticed that you had it on. I was like, whoa, that's pretty nice, man. Pretty nice.
Yeah. Just trying to make you feel welcome. It's great to have you on Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. How was your week? Did you do any comic hunting or comic shopping or comic tripping?
No, we don't have any comic shops in Manhattan. We've had, I live right outside Manhattan, Kansas, and we've had 5 comic shops come in and out in the last 8 years, and so we don't have one right now. There's a lot going on at my work, so I worked a lot this week, and my daughter had a gymnastics meet yesterday, and she did pretty good. So,
that's great.
Pretty busy. Been pretty busy with work and family stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you found time to spend with us. It's always great to have you here, as it is to have our live chat with us. Or if you're watching the rewind, I always say hello to you as well, because that's awesome. Our rewind views do quite well. In the live chat right now, Muabunga to White Tiger, Cool, Calm, Collected, Ruby G. Yeah, Ruby, he's gonna have his own Tiger Cub pretty soon.
Oh, he is. That's
and
nice.
His Tiger Cub is due right around the time of my birthday.
That's amazing.
Yes. Do you think that he'll let me name the Tiger Cub?
No.
Oh.
No way in hell. No way in hell.
Yeah, I've tried that before, and I usually get the thumbs down on that one. Yeah. So, Mr. Tony, what's going on DC Comics news-wise? I don't see a ton of stuff going on.
Not much, but I'd say the biggest one is they had some early test screenings of the new Superman movie. Turns out, hot garbage.
Now, are we believing this?
I mean, you got to take it at face value because we don't know. But they said the same thing about the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie that James Gunn did, and it was one of the better movies. But looking at the numbers, it's rated lower than Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, which I didn't know. I didn't know you could do that. The main complaint is there's too much going on, and it's hard to keep track, I guess. Which I knew was going to happen when DC was like, hey, this person's in it, this person's in it, this person. I'm like, okay, that's great. They just kept stacking people into it. Okay, we're already 24 people in. And this guy's in, and then you get to see Supergirl at the end. It's just like, come on, man. This is way too much.
Yeah. Steve, what do you think about all of this?
I was searching for comic book news as he was talking. What were we talking about? I'm sorry.
We're talking about they're saying initial Superman casting, initial testing isn't good.
I'm excited about the Superman movie. Super excited about the Superman movie. They actually just announced also a new My Adventures of Green Lantern show. Yeah. This can be in the same universe as My Adventures of Superman. Anime style show. They've had 2 seasons. That's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that show. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited about anything Superman. I'm from Kansas. Superman is the best superhero ever. So I'm pretty excited about the movie. I think the casting's good. We'll see what happens, though. James Gunn, I don't know. I did not like Creature Commandos, so I'm a little worried about Superman.
I didn't like Creature Commandos more than I thought it was. I was going to be like, because I don't do animation. I did
not like it. I like some episodes were good, some were bad.
Yeah. Well, Mike has stopped by. Sig Slayer Station is here. How you doing? Yeah. So one more thing before we move off this topic, Steve. Is more characters better or not?
There's a lot to juggle because there is a lot in that movie. I'm wondering. So I'm actually, that's one of the things I'm most worried about with that movie. So to answer your question, I think less is better. But he said he's got a story to tell. And it feels like they may be using Superman to launch the universe. So I don't know, man. We'll see. There's a lot of Marvel movies where there's a lot of different characters in it too, if you think about the first Thor movie, for instance, and a lot of the Iron Man movies too. So I don't know. He knows how to juggle characters with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we'll see.
Okay. We'll see.
I feel like he's best at juggling characters that are lesser known, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad. But now if he would have done like a Thor movie or an Iron Man movie, who knows? Maybe it would have been different.
Mr. Terrific's not well known. What is it? Guy Gardner? Is that who the Green Lantern is? He's not super well known either.
But it's not their movie. It's Superman.
Yeah, I know. That's true. I don't know, man. I do think less is better, preferably. But I don't know.
Yeah, especially if they want to do this as like, hey, this is what this universe is starting off. Some people might say, okay, let's go see some superhero movies. Let's see what this is all about. I know Superman, but I'm not going to know who Mr. Terrific is. I might know who Green Lantern vaguely is, but I don't know who Guy Gardner is.
Well, what did you guys think of the trailer? Because I gave the trailer like a 9.5.
I like the trailer.
The trailer was good. I like the trailer.
Yeah. Cliff is here. Hi, Cliff. How are you?
# Berk Fam. What's up, dude?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be great, but the initial screenings got me a little concerned when we're comparing it to Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
I don't know.
I think it just depends on the media outlet.
Yeah. The thing is, they just want to trash any DC movie ahead of time. They've done it with every single DC movie that's come out. They have trashed it ahead of time.
Yep.
And they haven't been right all the time. They've been right some of the time, but not all of the time.
Who knows?
They're still getting my money in July.
Oh yeah,
I'll see it anyway. Yeah,
I'll probably see it twice.
Yeah.
I'll see it once, and then when it hits streaming, I'll see it again.
Tony, what else is going on news-wise?
I guess since they announced that they have moved past Daniel Craig for the Sergeant Rock movie, it sounds like they may have found a replacement. which is interesting. And one of the potential replacements was in the first Captain America movie. Not Chris Evans, of course. I forget what Captain America's team was in MCU, and he was actually in World War II. That group of individuals that was with him, I can't remember the name. And I'm trying to find the guy's name, his actual name, but I can't find it. But he was
the
part
Fighting
of
Commandos.
What was it?
The Fighting Commandos was his group.
Sure, the Fighting Commandos. And it was one of his ragtag people that was part of it. So that'd be interesting. I mean, I don't think they're going to be under any sort of exclusive MCU deal because they were only in that one movie.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. I'm looking for the article. I guess I didn't bookmark it. But very cool. That would be awesome. And last one that I found was Al Richardson, Reacher, said that he would totally be up for being Batman. I can't see him being Batman though. He's too.
He was pretty good in the Titans TV show as Hawk.
Yeah. He's too. I don't know. I don't think he has the personality. I think he'd be a good Bruce Wayne. I
don't think he'd be a good Bruce Wayne. I think he'd be a better Batman. He needs to lower the bulk, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's ripped, this dude.
He's too big, honestly.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about Ben Affleck. I mean, he was really good at both.
He was doing both.
Keep in mind that if he gets cast as Batman, this would be his third DCEU or DC role in live action. Because he was Hawk.
Yes, and he was Green Arrow.
No.
He was Aquaman.
Aquaman. Smallville.
Yeah.
Smallville. And he was green.
He was the one who made Aquaman cool. The first time Aquaman was ever considered cool was like the week after his episode.
I don't know if he made it cool.
I'll tell you
he made it something.
I'll tell you something even more funny. One of my friends in California used to go to like a Saturday boot camp thing, and he taught it. So because I remember the time he's like, Aquaman was my coach at boot camp. I'm like, all right.
That's wild. Yeah. I've heard stories similar to Steve Amell before he became Green Arrow. He did a whole lot of spin classes.
Mm-hmm.
He taught a lot of spin classes. And then all of a sudden, he's no longer doing spin classes, but he's on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Any other news, Steve? Did you see anything you wanted to mention? Or Tony, anything else?
We talked about the new My Adventures of Green Lantern coming on the My Adventures of Superman universe. We had the Lanterns TV show. They released their first image like a week or two ago with the Ring, Kyle Chandler, and Aaron Pierre. I thought it looked pretty cool. We have the DC and Marvel crossover that was announced for the first time in 20 years. So I'm pretty interested in that. And then we have Absolute Flash #1 coming out in a little over a week and a half. March 19th, it's the next installment into the Absolute Universe. Now, I've loved all three titles in the new universe. I will say I'd probably put Absolute Wonder Woman third among the three.
But get rid of this guy. He's gone. He's gone.
I like all three. I really like all three. I do.
Okay. So. I haven't read, and I don't know if you have yet either, the new Aquaman one that's out for Absolute Aquaman. I see they're in issue 2.
Since when is there an Absolute Aquaman?
There's some type of, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Absolute I don't know if they're calling it Absolute Aquaman.
Okay,
but I don't remember. But yes, there is an Aquaman.
There's an so there's an Aquaman book. It's not Absolute.
Oh, I apologize.
It's by Jeremy Adams.
Okay.
It's just the new ongoing Aquaman title. I read issue 1. I thought it was okay. And I'm a big Jeremy Adams fan as a writer. He's a TV guy and movie guy. I thought he killed it on The Flash for almost 100 issues. And I thought he did really good with he's on Green Lantern right now as well. I think he's on pretty good on there. I didn't care for Aquaman #1 that much, honestly.
Okay. So a good question, although it's not really news related, but I've always wanted to ask after I say hello to Christina Payne. Hi, Christina. How are you? It's good to see you. Since you're a big Flash fan, does it just irk you that it's always Barry Allen in these live versions instead of Wally West as Flash?
So yes and no. They had Wally on a TV show, but they kind of merged both Wallys into one Wally. They merged Wally and Wallace because those are two separate characters. One is from the Silver Age, my favorite, Wally West, and then they merged him with the New 52 Wally to be more diverse, which is fine. But yes, it does kind of irk me that we've not had a live action Wally. But I've heard that the live action Flash will be Wally West in James Gunn's universe. So I'm excited about that. And Wally's had his own book for a while of DC Comics. They've kind of made Barry kind of a side character for a while. They've let Wally really take the reins, which has been awesome. But the new writer, Cy Spurrier, terrible. Like, I'm one of the biggest Flash fans, and I had to drop the book. That's how bad it was.
Oh, wow.
So Wally is, yes, I agree. Wally is the best Flash. We need him on the big screen. We need him on the big screen.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we want to discuss before we head into the retro review?
Good.
So, if you were to pull up the assist, Mr. Tony, that would be awesome. And
which one are we doing first?
We're going to do our book first. So, Steve, talk about, because you picked out both of our retro review books tonight, and the first one's a longer book that we're going to split between Tony and myself doing the retro review on. Tell us why you picked this special issue, and while you do that, I have to grab my iPad, so I'm ready for it.
So, okay, so I'm assuming we're talking about, yes, okay. So, DC Universe Rebirth #1. I have multiple copies. I was rereading that issue that's on the screen. And then I have a couple other printings, which are amazing as well. With Wally. It stars Wally West, which is, I've said, is my favorite Flash. In my opinion, from anyone that I've talked to that's like a DC fan, they have felt like it was one of DC's greatest single issues of all time, because it kind of ties everything together. Like, if you go back and read it, like, I had forgotten how many different characters and teams were touched on. It kind of wraps up the New 52, talks about the things that that really didn't work that well, and they talked about some of the things they're trying to do differently, and they talked about how history does matter. And at the end of the book, we finally get Wally back in the DC universe, he was gone for a long time. He was gone for a really, really, really long time, which is interesting because Barry was gone for 20 years after his death in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I just think the writing is great by Geoff Johns. I think the art is amazing. So, I don't know. I think it's one of DC's greatest single issues of all time. And as a person that really started getting into comics back in 2016, DC Universe Rebirth, the whole Rebirth line, is one thing that I picked up almost every single title of. And this was the book that really got me hooked on reading the rest of the line. So I felt like This was the book we definitely needed to talk about. Yeah,
cool. So I'll kick it off. Tony, if you want to scroll through a little bit, they're showing us some of the variant covers that they had for this. And I want to say hello while you're doing that to Perry Gaming. Perry just celebrated his birthday a couple days ago. So hope you had a good one and there was some birthday cake.
He's probably got like 2 million subs at this point reacting to the movies.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Here's the whole wraparound cover.
Yeah, there's the whole wraparound.
Yeah.
That's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
The color version of that last one was the one I really liked. So I'll get us started if you want to. Yep, there we go. We have a clock that's ticking, and we're getting narration, and we're not sure at first who the narration's from.
No,
the day I graduated high school, my uncle gave me a watch. It belonged to his father and his grandfather before that. This watch had been handed down generation after generation with the inscription on the back, "Every second is a gift." He says, "My uncle was an optimist. I used to be an optimist too, until the day The watch broke and I lost it. I lost time. Everyone did. So that's an ominous beginning for us. Here we have, I look down and I know without question that he loves this world, but he's realizing that there's something missing. He talks about his past as he grew up. He had a father that was more focused on get-rich-quick schemes and a mother too worrying about what everyone thought about her. So the parents really weren't paying attention to them. No brothers or sisters, no real friends, until the day that I met my hero, this narration says, and I found hope and inspiration. I was blessed with power and a purpose, and I became part of a legacy. And we see the lightning strike down, and as he continues to reflect on it, was better than I ever imagined that it could be. So we're outside of Wayne Manor right now, and he says, as bizarre as it sounds, I used to find myself lost outside of reality like this. And something is pushing me too hard. Sometimes it was because something else was. Still, I always found my way home because I had a lightning rod to ground me. And inside Wayne Manor, we see our narrator is looking for Bruce Wayne. And inside, Bruce, as Batman, is trying to find signs of Superman. No signs of him since he was declared missing after confrontation with an unknown metahuman. Alfred is buzzing him to find out what's going on, and Alfred is informing him it's the Joker. And in Civic City, 1 dead in a candy store, 2 more held hostage. But apparently there's a Joker outside of Baltimore 3 hours ago, and they're transferring him to Arkham. And he says, Alfred's saying, well, there aren't 2 Jokers. And Bruce says, no, there aren't. There's actually 3 Jokers, which of course is a whole different series. So this narrator says, this is why I'm starting with Bruce. Every mystery in the universe has ever faced, from the streets of Gotham to the solar pits of Apocalypse, he's solved them all. And he's hoping that Bruce can help him out. This might be his only chance. He says, the moment Darkseid was destroyed, reality flickered, and the door kept me out, crackling open. After years of trying to get back in, I was finally able to break through. Making direct contact like this could kill me, but I have to try. So lightning hits inside of the Batcave, and Bruce jumps, and he hears someone calling out Bruce. As he turns around, he sees who was narrating to us. My name is Wally West. I'm the fastest man alive. And he says, Bruce, I need your help. He says, but that no one remembers that. Once upon a time, I was Flash too. And Batman questions, said, Barry? He said, no, I'm not Barry, but you know me, Bruce. And he's like, well, who are you? He's like, I'm younger than you would have remembered. We all are. And he starts to say his name, but the lightning and the speed force starts to pull him back, and he's getting reeled back in. So he just has moments left, and he says, he finally gets out, my name is Wally. And he says, remember how you got the letter, Bruce, the letter from your father, from Thomas Wayne. This is how all of this started. And he's like, ask Barry, as he's really getting pulled back in, and Batman's yelling, wait, don't go. And Wally's body breaks down, transformed into kinetic energy. You become fuel for the next generation of speedsters. Time rips open, and he gets sucked back into the Speed Force. Reality from across existence spills out, and he thinks he's going to die. On the next page, we see Bruce turning from the smoke, looking at the letter from Thomas Wayne, which flashes back to Flashpoint. And it's like Wally continues to narrate over, saying, I hope, but this is getting harder to do. I hope that if I die, my death will mean something. Bruce couldn't bring me back, so I have to find someone else. I have to warn my friends before it's too late. We go back and get his origin, essentially, how one summer he got to spend time with his aunt in Central City, which was the town where his favorite superhero, the Flash, lived. So Wally's there, and he meets a Barry Allen. He didn't know at the time that is Flash. He gets introduced to Flash. He thinks it's the greatest moment of his life. But he says it even got better, because he was struck by a bolt of lightning and doused in chemicals. The same accident that transformed Barry into the Flash happened to him. Barry called it a freak 1,000,000,000 coincidence, but later we theorized it was Barry subconsciously drawing down the Speed Force. So he's now has the powers of the Flash, and he finds happiness in the fact that he can use these powers, and he doesn't feel nearly as lonely. He can get, from one town to the next in a matter of seconds. He makes friends within the Teen Titans, which he joins. Then there's a nod to Crisis on Infinite Earths with the red skies, and Barry dying during the crisis. So to honor him, he takes up the mantle of no longer being Kid Flash, but being the regular Flash. He finds love of his own with a reporter named Linda Park. And over the years, he says his powers grew, and there were times that he'd run so fast he'd break the time barrier, and he'd get lost in prison within the Speed Force. He says, every time I thought I was lost forever, Linda helped me get home. Our love transcended dimensions. We were connected no matter where we were. She was my lightning rod. And then he talks about how a miracle occurred not that long ago with Barry returning from the Speed Force himself. And for a brief moment, it seemed like everything was perfect, and then it wasn't. Then he talks about Flashpoint and Barry traveling into the past to prevent his mother's murder and how he was able to do it, but Flashpoint was created, this devastating butterfly effect, which resulted in completely rewriting reality, with Thomas Wayne becoming Batman because his son Bruce was gunned down. And he says someone outside of time watched all of this happen. Someone saw history unravel when Barry created Flashpoint, and when history was coming back together, they attacked. And as our timelines reformed, someone stole 10 years from us. A decade was removed like a Jenga piece, and I don't exactly know how or why, but it changed everything. Heroes that were legends became novices, and bonds between them were weakened and erased. Legacies were destroyed. A darkness from somewhere infected us. It has for a long time, even before the Flashpoint, and no one knows this but me. So now he's falling through the Speed Force, and he says the secret isn't that Flashpoint changed the universe. Something or someone else did, and whoever they are, they're still out there. I can't get up. I can't give up. I have to get back for Linda, for Barry, for my friends and family. So I'm reaching out to someone that could bring me home, someone or anyone, before I'm gone forever, and before whoever attacks my friends attacks again. He says, my name is Wally West. I was the fastest man alive. I was the Flash. Whether I ever will be again isn't what's important. What's important is that I get back so I can warn everyone, so I can deliver a message. It's not over. So that's the end of our first chapter. As we segue through, we see an old folks' home and a man that is being told that he's senile and deaf because he wants to escape. And they're telling him to get back into his room, and he wants to escape. He wants to get out, and so he locks the door for a second. When he turns around, lightning engulfs the entire room, and he sees Wally as Kid Flash, and he says, look, I don't know how long I have to talk. You have to listen to me. Their history may have been stolen, but your friends weren't completely lost. And he's like, I'm sorry for what I did. And this old man is freaked out, and we realize that his name is Johnny. And he says, Kid Flash says, it's wartime again. The world's going to need your friends. But you can bring them back. You have that power, Johnny. Use the genie. Find the Justice Society. And as he's crying, he's saying that's all they've been trying to do. They bust through the doors as Kid Flash is stuck back into the Speed Force, and he's yelling for his Thunderbolt, say you. So this is Johnny Thunder that we realize as an old man. And he's being dragged out, and Kid Flash is going on trying to find someone else who could help him. As he goes through the Speed Force, we cut into a police station where there's a woman with an accent, and they're not sure who she is, but she's there to speak with Superman. And she claims to be a friend of his. And they say, well, Superman is missing. He might even... And she says, well, I can wait till he comes back. And said, well, the Justice League says he could be dead. And she's like, well, she's smiling, and she's being questioned on why she's smiling. She says, everything's going to be all right. Well, how do you know that? Because I've seen the future. And they're like, well, she's out of her mind, but she's not violent. So Maggie Sawyer decides just to leave her be for the time being. And what we see at the very bottom is a Legion ring. As we advance now, we're at Ivy University, where Ray Palmer has a responsibility to a class that he's not attending. So there's the dean, who's very upset. Where is he? She wants to know. She's asking his assistant, and she suggests that perhaps that he goes and gets him. So his assistant, Ryan, starts running away. He ends up knocking on Professor Palmer's door. He sees that it appears with the letters underneath the door that he's been gone for a while, so he uses a special key to come in. And there is Ray Palmer as the Atom, sending a message to Ryan, saying, if you're receiving this message, I'm in horrible trouble. I detected a disruption deep within the temporal nanostructure of the timeline. I thought it was Chronos, so I went to investigate, and I jumped into the pool, and then I started discovering this microverse. And he's like, I need you to cancel my classes, let Jean know the alimony check's going to be late, tell her I love her. And he's like, I need you to do something else for me as well. He's like, I know that you don't play sports, you hate the outdoors, you're afraid of heights, you have asthma and allergies. Honestly, you're a bit of a mess, he says. But you're also the only person that knows my tech and what I do with it as the Atom as well as I do. And most important of all of that, you're the only one that I can trust with this. So he's left him a size-changing belt identical to his. And he says it will tether you to me, and you'll be able to help get me out of where I'm stuck at. He's like, believe me, Ryan, you won't only be saving my life, but maybe the entire universe. He's like, but there's one thing that's so super important. He's like, when you reach the first world of the microverse, you're going to meet someone. They're going to seek you out. Whatever you do and whatever they say, do not, and then he's cut off. And he's like, Professor Palmer, he's freaked out now, and he turns over and looks at the belt, which has a little bit of a glimmer to it, and he says, uh-oh. So now we cut over and we have Ted Cord and Jamie Reyes, and of course Jamie has the beetle contraption on his, and Ted Cord's introducing him to their mobile headquarters. He's like, it's like a flying Batcave, and who wouldn't want a flying Batcave? And he's like, my father left me this company, and we're supposed to make a difference in the world. And when I inherited, I'm going to keep up with that. And he's like, this is our destiny, like you and the scarab. And he's like, it itches all the time. I love that line. And he says, look, Mr. Cord, he's like, hey, it's Ted. He's like, I appreciate your enthusiasm, and that's great that you want to help people and stuff, but I'm not looking to play Batman and Robin. Then he realizes the time says it's time for him to fly, so he switches into Blue Beetle, and he takes off. When Ted Cord turns around, there's Dr. Fate, and Ted Cord doesn't know who he is. And he says he's kind of freaking him out, and Dr. Fate is saying, look, you and Jamie don't really understand this beetle that's been fused to him. You both think it has power, and that it's an alien scarab, but the Blue Beetle scarab is xenotechnology, and it's magic. You're playing with magic, and his eyes light up when he realizes that. We cut over to a montage of some other new heroes. We see Robin there on his 13th birthday, among others. We have Green Lantern there, talking to Hal Jordan, who's wondering, who's Sinestro? We have a young man, I believe that this is the future Aquaman, and he's looking at the fish. And we have at the bottom someone running in a hood, and it's a female. And she talks about she's been carrying this burden, this curse to suffer through. The naive little Pandora unleashed evil upon the world, skepticism, doubt, corruption, all the things your cold heart believes. But in the end, there's hope, and the heroes of the universe embody it. Their hope, their devotion, their love for one another will vanquish what you've done. It may be over for me, but I will prove you wrong. They will prove you are nothing but a lonely, cruel, and she's going to say monster, when all of a sudden, as chapter 2 ends, disintegration. So now there's a scream in the Speed Force that Wally hears. Is it from the Speed Force or something else? He's like, something's happened. And we look down and we hear someone saying, I know Diana's secret. Mother told her before she died. Diana has a twin brother born on the island the night that we were. His name is Jason. This is Darkseid's daughter, Grail, talking. He is out there in the world and he has great power, like you, Darkseid. And someone's been hurt. And we cut to that great splash page right there, double splash. Someone's dead. It's a Superman, or I can't see him clearly for some reason. We have the other heroes reacting, but I can feel what they all feel. So even in the Speed Force, he can feel this. He talks about people like Oliver Queen and Dinah Lance, Green Arrow and Black Canary. They barely know each other anymore. When their eyes meet, they feel a spark that neither one of them can explain, a void deep inside, something buried in their hearts. The strange feeling that keeps them up at night, wondering, what have they lost? We're cutting over now to the Seagull Motel, and Superman's death is all over the news. There is Clark and Lois, and Lois is saying, I don't think that John should be watching anymore. He's asking too many questions. And Clark's like, we all have questions. Since we came to this parallel world from ours, something's different, but some of the events are the same. And she's like, well, you mean like Doomsday killing you on our world and then this Superman dies? Is that what you're thinking? And they're wondering if this Superman will return from the grave. And as Clark starts to walk over, someone calls his name. He turns over, and there's this mysterious hooded figure. Your boy is growing up fast. You and Lois must be proud. He wonders who you are. And he says, who I am really doesn't matter. At least not yet. You can call me Mr. Oz. What I am, oh, that's a different story. Friend or enemy is too simple of a term when you consider the long game. Some might say that. And he's like, well, what do you want? He's like, to tell you something in the wake of this tragedy. You and your family are not what you believe you are, and neither was the fallen Superman. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. Underwater, we have Aquaman and Mera. And they are landing in a place that's a little familiar to them. Mera's wondering, will you slow down? You know, what is all of this? And he says, well, it's dinner. And she's like, on a deserted island. He's like, this is the first place we ever met. And she's like, well, I tried to kill you then. He's like, you tried to kill me on that beach right over there. And he says, seeing everything, this is Wally narrating, seeing everything, I realized it wasn't 10 years that was stolen from us. It was love. So Mera talks about how growing up that the Atlanteans were always feared, especially the king of Atlantis. And he says, she says to him, you know, you're far from someone that I fear. And he says, I never really wanted the throne, but one thing that I did want, he's like, well, I was going to wait till after we ate to say this. And he gets down, gets a wedding ring out, gets down and proposes, and says, it's a surface custom. And then Tony will pick up the rest.
Yes. So, we cut back to Linda, the famous reporter Linda. She's on scene. And here comes some more lightning bolts. I remember when I first read this when it came out, like I went to the midnight release and just the buzz that came around with it. It was pretty cool. My comic shop hardly ever does midnight releases, but they did a midnight release for this one, so I was very excited. But anyway, we get back to Linda and she's getting ready to break the story, and then kaboom, here's Wally West, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's you, Linda, holy cow, it's me, Wally West. She looks a little confused, and Wally's like, take my hand, come on, like, it's good old pal Wally West. And she's like, I don't even know who you are, like, how do you know my name? So that, of course, Wally West got friend zoned without knowing what happened. So he gets sucked back into the Speed Force. Almost said Feed Force, but that's me on Thanksgiving. Wally gets sucked back into the Speed Force, and he's traveling through time essentially. And then we have this little panel right here. We're not sure who they are yet in terms of when this story came out, but it's Gotham Boy and Gotham Girl, which is a whole other thing. We continue to move through the Speed Force. We see Constantine and Swamp Thing, and Wally is stopping at everybody he knows, including Captain Boomerang. I like how to get Captain Boomerang's attention. He's, oi! That was really funny. We have Victor, and then we goes over to Dick Grayson, but nobody remembers Wally West, which is sad. We cut over back to Central City, the other current Wally West, and he noticed that it's so strange. He doesn't really understand what's going on. He's reminiscing about how he became Kid Flash and all the good that he did, but he also can't really help this current Wally West. And he got this. Wally West got this idea. If there's anybody that's going to know who he is, it's the Flash. So he approaches Barry Allen, and he says, "Hey, Barry, it's me, it's Wally. And I'm trying to get back, but nobody seems to remember me. I think I'm just going to be lost in Speed Force forever." And he said, not only is this hello, but it's also goodbye. And they're talking about what made him the Flash and what his relationship to the Speed Force and his connection to Barry Allen and all the speedsters here, which I thought was pretty cool. But he's right. Barry doesn't remember him at first. And as Wally's kind of fading out, he says, thank you for an amazing life, and your kindness, for your inspiration, for for being there so many times, you know, and it's great to see you kind of one last time. And Barry is very confused. He's like, I don't understand. And Wally says, you know, someday you will. And you were right, you know, every second is a gift. So as he's literally about to be sucked into the Speed Force for, you know, probably eternity, Barry reaches out and grabs him and he says, Wally. And he pulls him back into that timeline. He's like, of course, you know, of course I'm going to remember who you are. How could I ever forget you? And here we have them embracing, you know. And I remember reading this at my kitchen table, like 1 o'clock in the morning when this came out. I was like, holy shenanigans. Like, they brought back Wally West. Like, what are they going to do with the other Wally West? There's 2 Wally West now? Like, okay, cool. But, yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up. So, yeah, Wally and Barry are talking about, you know, how he became the Flash, a lightning bolt, you know, that he was Iris's nephew, and, you know, his time with the, you know, the Teen Titans. And that's, you know, okay. And Wally's like, you forgot? That's okay. I'm here now. And Barry's like, yeah, I guess I did forget because I have this other Wally West. And, you know, they're not really quite sure what happened because, you know, Barry, you know, if you remember all the way back in Crisis, you know, he died at the end, and Wally picked up to become the Flash. So they're a little unsure moving forward. Like, how is this going to affect reality? Because, you know, going back to the beginning of the story, that, you know, Kid Flash also brought Batman the letter from his dad, and that created this whole other timeline. So it seems like they these timelines are, you know, are colliding, so to speak. Or I think the term they use on Legends of Tomorrow, the timelines are collapsing on each other, which I thought was pretty cliche, but it's always funny. But yeah, whoever they are, for whatever reason, they took years from us to weaken us, and, you know, we're not sure who it is, but, you know, it's not Thawne. You know, here we are into the Batcave, and Batman is looking at the letter that he got from his dad, and he digs into the wall where the lightning had hit, and pulls out a button. Very ominous looking button, right? We don't know what that is. We have no idea. This book just came out. That's going to wrap up the this particular issue.
Okay, guys, thoughts about what we just read and discussed?
God, it's so good. It's so good.
It's good.
Yeah, it was good. It felt like an event, and I wish we had more comic books that felt like,
especially for a single issue.
Yeah.
And for $2.99, like, that's insane, right?
That's where they drew the line.
And then erased it like a year later.
Literally, they're like, everything's gonna be $2.99. We're gonna get twice monthly books, blah 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 blah. And then a month later, they changed it to $3.99. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, his wife doesn't remember him. Linda Park doesn't remember him. His best friend, Dick Grayson, doesn't remember him. They were original members of the Teen Titans back in Brave and the Bold 54. Some really good stuff there. And, you know, both Wallys do meet. I think it's Flash Rebirth number 7 or 9. You get a real cool homage, the Flash of Two Worlds back. I think it's Flashpoint number 121, the same kind of stuff on that cover, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's just a fun book, really fun book. And, you know, when you read that, you're kind of thinking, man, we're going to see Superman fighting, you know, Dr. Manhattan and the Watchmen and all of that. Because, you know, we do get the Button storyline where Batman 21 and 22 and Flash 21 and 22 go together, you know, as kind of like a team up book, you know, leading into Doomsday Clock, which that's a whole other thing. We never really got exactly what we wanted out of that. And then they also touched really, really early on in that book on the 3 Jokers. But I honestly feel kind of slighted by DC because they made the 3 Jokers kind of like an Elseworld story when it should have been canon. Because it was in Justice League 50. It was in the DC Universe Rebirth book. That should have been a canon story. But it wasn't. So, I don't know. I really love this book. I don't like everything that happened after this book. But me being one of the biggest Wally West fans, I love that he was a central character in this, and
sure was
a central character in a lot of stuff. Heroes in Crisis. I mean, that was ruined by Tom King, in my opinion. They made him a central character in the Dark Knight's Metal story as well. I think part 2 of that story, actually. So I love this story. I love this story. I want to read it more. I want to read it again.
Yeah, nice. One thing that I also enjoyed that I wanted to mention, because I think it needs to be mentioned, there are so many great full-page splashes throughout the story. Sometimes you see one and you're like, well, hands down, that's going to be like the best page in the book. Then you can get to another one later and you're like, well, wait, there's the artwork's solid throughout the entire book, but there's some amazing splash pages throughout the book. So I really enjoyed reading that. Out of 1 to 10 system, I would give this about a 9 out of 10.
It's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. What grades would you give it?
9.
Probably 9. I'm gonna give it a solid 9. Yeah.
Good. Cool.
It's so good. It's so good, and the art's good, and they intermix other artists in there as well. But I mean, the story, the writing by Geoff Johns, which I mean, if you like DC Comics, you're gonna like Geoff Johns because his writing is amazing. He's done, the original Flash Rebirth, Green Lantern Rebirth, Blackest Night. He created so many characters as well, like that new Jessica Cruz, the new Green Lantern in that book as well. So yeah, it's up there. I really like the book.
Yeah, very good pick. So thank you. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a costume change. Wasn't I wearing a yellow jacket before?
I noticed that you turned the camera off. I was wondering what happened.
Then I came back all red.
Yes.
So cool. We got one more book for you that Steve also picked out. Tell us about the second book that you're going to review for us tonight. It's from the New 52 era.
Yeah. So this is Justice League #1 from the New 52. Written by, again, Geoff Johns. Sorry, my wife's computer is hooked up to her phone, so if you hear it going off, it's her phone being texted. Geoff Johns, writer, just like he did for DC Universe Rebirth. This is also kicking off, essentially, the New 52. And we have art by Jim Lee, which is arguably my favorite, or one of the best DC artists of all time. One of my favorites, for sure. In this book, I'm going to try to go through it here. Okay. We see. Oh, you have it. Perfect.
Yeah, we have it. So.
Okay. All right. Cool. I don't know if there's a way to turn that off. I'm sorry. So we start off with Batman being hunted down by the Gotham City Police Department. It says that basically the world is not the way that we know it. Obviously, and Batman's always been kind of, outside the law. He's being hunted down, but he's actually hunting something else down. And it actually kind of felt a lot like the beginning of the Justice League movie, the crappier version, where he's hunting down one of, Darkseid's minions here from Apocalypse. He's asking, what were you doing at the docks? You come to find out later that he's trying to plant bombs in Gotham City. One of them kind of explodes as he's fighting it, and then you see another DC character, another Justice League character show up, and it is none other than the smooth-talking Hal Jordan coming in hot with a fire truck firing at this parademon right here. Batman barely survives, and he's like, Batman? I didn't even know you're real, man? What? And he's telling him to turn his lights down before they see you. He's like, before who sees us? And he's like, well, the police. And he's like, oh, I can make these constructs, bullets can't get through them, yada, yada, yada. And then you see the parademon come right back and start fighting them again. And he actually changes. He kind of transforms, and Hal makes even a joke about how he's like, is this a transformer? What is this? As the parademon fires at the Gotham City Police Department. And so they kind of team up for a little bit there. And he's like, I've heard about you. What kind of powers do you have? Obviously, you know, Hal Jordan's got his ring. He's got all the constructs. He can fly. He's in space, all of that. So he's asking Batman, you know, what do you got? You got super strength? No. And he goes, can you fly? No. He goes, hold on a second. You're just a guy in a bat suit? Are you freaking kidding me? And then he's like, oh, well, what's this do? And he grabs a ring, and you slowly see the Green Lantern suit coming off of Hal Jordan. He goes, how the hell did you get it off? And he basically says, well, I'm assuming it works off of concentration, and you weren't concentrating. And he kind of gives him a little smile, which is pretty good. He gets it back. He says, you won't do that again. He goes, not unless I want to, which is pretty good. Pretty good. And it looks like they're about to fight, but then he's like, shh. He's like, what? And he points over at the parademon about to plant what looks like a bomb, but actually it appears to be a mother box. And, you know, of course, Hal Jordan's going crazy. He's like, yo, let me get in there. Let me. He's about to plant that bomb. He just armed it. And he's like, Lantern, wait. And then he goes, the parademon says, for Darkseid, which is actually going back to a whole other thing. Anyways, it blows up, but thankfully, Hal Jordan gets him in a construct of a safe so they don't die. And he says, Darkseid, what is that? A band? And he said, sounded like a death cry. Move on. They look at it. He has his ring scan it. And he's like, you know, whatever this thing is, my ring can find out. The ring does not know what it is, which is surprising that the ring wouldn't know that's a mother box. And he's like unable to identify. And he's like, what? That's impossible. Everything my ring knows comes from Oa and the Guardians. How does it not know that? And he's like, well, you know, it's some sort of alien tech. He's like, oh, like Superman because he's alien. And they start talking about how he's dangerous and then Hal goes, well, you know, Superman won't be a problem for me. And then we kind of cut over to Victor Stone, a.k.a. Cyborg, playing football. In this rendition, he is a wide receiver. He is not a cyborg yet. He's scoring touchdowns. We're getting all sorts of recruiters talking to him, trying to play sports at their university. His dad is nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. He's like, dude, you know, you said you're going to be here. The scouts are here. The coach won't let me talk to them without you. I know you're busy, but just this one time, I really need you. And oh yeah, we won tonight, Dad. Then he goes back into the locker room. They're talking about his dad, and they move on. And as you see, like people outside the football game, you see a flying Green Lantern jet, and he's like, whoa, it's one of them, but it's not Superman. And then they're like, well, doesn't your dad talk about all these metahumans? He goes, no, he doesn't talk to me about them, at least not to me. And he gets there. Batman's like, you flew us to Metropolis in a glowing green jet? And he's like, well, you can't fly, bro. So they start walking over to LexCorp, the demolition zone. And they're talking about Superman. And he's like, you know, Hal Jordan says, I can handle this. And then out from that demolition zone comes a flying Superman. And he goes, I don't handle easy. And you get this great splash page of Superman in the book. Also, right next to a shot of Aquaman #1 from the New 52. So they're trying to get you to get not just the next issue of Justice League #1, but also Aquaman #1 from the New 52. So
yes,
it's pretty good. I love the the collar on him. If you know the New 52, you know that he gets with Wonder Woman, and that's a whole other story as well, as opposed to being the Lois Lane. But I feel like that's a really good kickoff issue to the New 52 Justice League book. And the best part is, of course, the art by Jim Lee. So
yeah, the art's really good. One thing that I liked about this, that they decided to just take their time in introducing this group in this story. Most of the time when you have a group book, they try to squeeze all of these 5 to 7 characters in at once, right. and no one gets the time to do anything.
Because Wonder Woman shows up in issue #2. It's like the same little shot that we see, and I can't remember if it's a Wonder Woman movie. I think it is a Wonder Woman movie where she's talking about the ice cream and all of that. It's like almost the exact same panel for panel that we saw in the movie. So it's really interesting. And I do like that they took their time with that as well.
If only we had someone who knew something about Wonder Woman to ask.
Yeah, do we know anyone? I mean,
we don't know anyone.
Like a cool character or anything?
Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of cool.
CIA.
So I like that too. I like the artwork. I thought, the writing style, it has good pacing, and that's one thing that I think I liked is the pacing of it.
Well, and what's nice about the book is that, like, if you read, some other writers, and I just said his name earlier, Tom King. It feels like whenever you read a Tom King book, you get the same voice for every single character, which it sounds like it's just Tom King talking. Whereas Geoff Johns, one of the best writers of all time, like, he really writes for the characters, and it really feels like something that Batman would say, or Hal Jordan would say, or whatever, right? And I feel like you get great voices in this book.
Awesome. So I'm going to go out of 10 on this. Just this issue alone, because I think it sets up some great stuff. I'm going to go 8.5 on this one. I liked it. So
I'll give it a solid 8.
Solid 8. Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tony, any thoughts? Any thoughts, Tony, that you want to add?
I mean, yeah, I remember watching the animated movie, and you're right. This is like a shot-for-shot, panel for panel remake. Or no, I guess the book came out and then the movie. But you know what I mean. One thing that came out of that particular run when that volume was launched was they came out with these replica mother boxes, and I got one. I don't want to turn it on because it is incredibly loud, but yeah, it's each little side is different. When you light it up, it actually makes like the noises like using the mother box. But I have terrible flashbacks from mother boxes. I think Lasso.
Yeah, Tony bought the Justice League meal. Did you know about that, Steve? There was a Justice League meal.
I did not know that. I hope it ended with some ice cream.
It was so bad.
From where?
It's a company that does like meals at home based off of movies. And when the Justice League Snyder Cut came out, they launched this huge. I mean, I have the box down here. It's a big mother box, and there's like burgers. Like each food item was based off of a character, and I knew it was going to be bad when we opened the Martian Manhunter Oreo cookies thing. Absolutely covered in mold. Covered in mold. It was so, like, they say on the box, refrigerate immediately, consume within, by a specific date. We were a week ahead of the date, so we're good. I refrigerated immediately, and everything was covered in mold. The sauce was bad. Like, they got the special sauce for your burgers. It was so chunky, and it was like, so gross. And they gave you a pre-cooked patty for the burger, and it was like, dude, you could break it off.
As bad as a lead-in cut, dude.
Yeah, it was so bad. And when I reached out to them for support, like, this sucks. Like, why does it suck so bad? They're like, yeah, it happened. Sorry. And like that was it. They're like,
no money back?
No, I got nothing. It was like a $200 meal, and my wife and I had this whole thing planned out. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna enjoy this food. It's gonna be great. She never does stuff like that. So to get her to do something like that was very special for me. They ruined it. They were so bad. Yeah, I can't even begin. Telling you it's so bad feels like saying 4th of July is really cool. Like, tell me more. Like, of course it is.
I think you were lucky you didn't end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
I
let them have it too, because I remember the thumbnail for that video was a picture of a dumpster fire and like their logo hanging out the side.
Yeah, for those that want to watch, it is on Signature King's channel. There is a video of this, and you can get much more details. Incidentally, you can sub up all of the fanboys and our special guest, Berk Family54 Comics. Links are in the description for this video, and sub everyone up within the chat too, and help keep growing this amazing community. So, Steve, we're at the part of the show. Before we wrap up, I don't know if I told you about this part yet, and please forgive me. I wasn't trying to spring this on you. We do a thing called Book Show is where we're at to wrap up, and we just take a DC Comics item and just show it. And you can do a couple items if you want. We'll let you go last so you can kind of get the feel of how we do it.
I have a couple books I want to grab, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we also talk about what's going on in our channel. So, Signature King, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
Hit it.
So, coming up on the channel, I got some more shorts. Yeah, a lot of shorts. I'm waiting for my CBCS books to come back so I can get just a lot of content in those books as they come back. So stay tuned for that, hopefully very soon. So for book show, I'm going to show 2 different books here. First being DC Rebirth #1, signed by Phil Jimenez, which is very cool. CBCS 9.8. I really wanted to get this one signed by Geoff Johns, but at Baltimore Comic-Con. But I know events like that at Baltimore, CGC kind of has like a monopoly on the signing, so there was no way. And I wanted to keep it all authentic or whatever. So, I guess I'll have to wait for another time. The second book I want to show is I got a 9.8 midnight release variant, not signed by anybody.
That's the cover I liked.
Yeah, this is a cool cover, and on the back, it's got cool stuff too. So I have both printings, an A cover and a midnight release variant. I did get this release variant at my LCS at midnight, and sent it in for a grade. It came back at 9.8, so I was pretty happy with that.
Show the signed one again for Steve, since he was grabbing his book.
Phil Jimenez.
Who's that signed by?
Phil Jimenez.
Nice.
Yep, on 2/11/17.
Nice.
So not long after it came out.
Nice, cool.
Heck yeah.
Cool. So on my channel, I'm celebrating Women's History Month with my Back Issue of the Week YouTube short. Current Back Issue of the Week that's up on the channel right now is on Firestar, who is one of Spider-Man's amazing friends. But I got a DC lady hitting tomorrow morning. I'll give you a little hint, that should help you out a little bit or a lot on who that possibly could be. My comic book editions video that came out this past Tuesday was a lot of omnibuses and hardcovers that I've added into my collection. It's so fitting that Steve tonight chose this Justice League book, because one of the hardcovers that I showed was something I just got at Ollie's. And it is the Justice League Origin, which I think collects the first 12 issues and the 0 issue as well.
Nice.
And I just picked this up. So I learned something today. I have an Ollie's in town, which is where I bought this from. And today I went to another town, as I said, did some comic hunting, and this town had an Ollie's as well. So I wanted to see if they had different merchandise than my Ollie's. And they had a few things that were different. But one thing I noticeably saw, they had this book. They were selling theirs for $24.99. So when this book first came out, $99.99 MSR. The day I bought this at Ollie's, Amazon, because I pulled up Amazon was selling it sealed for $47.02. I'm just going to let you see that they mispriced this, if you can see how much I paid for that.
$199.
Oh my gosh, dude!
No, that's correct. That's a correct price. It's like that at my Ollie's too. That exact same one.
Really?
$99. Yeah.
Because they are selling it at this other Ollie's today for $24.99.
Oh, well, somebody screwed that up.
I have bought candy bars more expensive than this book.
Yeah.
A can of Coke now is the same price as that omnibus.
That's amazing.
There you go.
So that was a nice score. That's an extra one that I picked up for my friend. But tonight I actually popped open my own copy, and what I liked, it had a built-in bookmark too, so you could keep track. I thought that was cool, and I love reading. Yeah, I love reading this in the bigger size. The artwork just lends itself to this nice bigger size. So
that is amazing.
Yeah, and so that's what that video is on my channel already. Tuesday I should have another video where I'm completing 3 DC titles. I finally got the last issues I needed to complete 3 different titles from DC. So I'm going to share that in a video this upcoming week. So nice. That's always fun when you get to do that. And Steve, what's going on in your channel? You can talk about that and then do a book show for us.
Sure. Okay, so we just did a giveaway on my channel. We gave away a bunch of books to a channel member. A bunch of really awesome books from the 616comics.com. Any channel member was entered to win. It's just $1.99 to join the channel. Here's one of the books that we gave away. I don't know. I don't know if this is cool. I don't know. And this is really cool. BA12. This is another book that was in here. I'm trying to show just DC books here. 2 more here. This is a BA12 homage Nathan Zerdy cover. That was another one that was in this batch. And then it's really cool Power Girl #3 as well. And then there's other Marvel books in there, but we don't want to talk about that. So we gave all this away. My good friend Mike V1, which is pretty cool. Coming up on my channel in about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be at a Comic-Con here in Kansas City. I'm going to go in there with my friends. Going to get a lot of video and stuff there. That's where I plan to buy some books. I really don't have a comic shop that I can go to buy things, so I don't really buy that often. But I send my my weekly list to my long distance comic shop in Georgia, and I'm about ready to get my next shipment of books. I just need to finish just a handful of Action Comics books to read, and then once I finish that, then whenever I'm done reading something, read my entire stack of 30 books, whenever I'm done, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the next shipment, right? Sometimes I read a whole bunch in one day, and then I read a whole bunch the next day, and then I kind of go a week or two without reading, and then I'll read a whole bunch again. So I'm about ready for the next shipment. I'm ready for the Comic-Con coming up, so I'm pretty excited about that. Work should really not be that extensive for me after probably this week, so should be ramping up the content on my channel. I got a pretty decent following, but I really haven't been posting that much lately, so I need to get back to posting more content regularly. But in terms of showing off comics, I wanted to show off probably my 3 favorite DC. I would say these are 3 out of my top 4. I did not grab the other one tonight, but these are 3 out of my top 4 favorite comics in my collection. And we'll start with the least expensive one. And this is one I've had the longest of these 3. This is the first appearance of the Teen Titans in the Brave and the Bold 54. I got this for my birthday a couple years ago in a 4.0.
That's so nice.
The colors really pop.
Yeah.
I'd like to upgrade this to a higher grade at some point because this book is so undervalued. I think I paid $200 for this book. I don't know what it is right now, but I'd like to get a 7 or an 8 because I feel like this book, even a 7 or 8, is only $500, $600. So at some point, this book will pop up, and I'd like to get that in a higher grade before it does that. The next book is of the character that we talked about the most tonight, my favorite Flash. My good friend Pandawson316 sent me the link of this book to buy online. It was raw. I got it pressed and cleaned, and then sent it off to be graded. Came back a mid-grade 5.0. This Flash number 110. The first Wally West and the Weather Wizard. So,
boy, I tell you, you never see that cover. At least I don't out in the wild.
No, you do not. You
don't see that one.
I paid just under $400 for this a couple of years ago, and then, like I said, I got it, pressed and cleaned and then graded. I'm doing pretty good on that book. I'm doing pretty good. This is my crown jewel of my collection. And Ryan, I think you know what this book is. I'm assuming you know what I'm about to show.
I think so. I think it's the one that I want so bad.
I think everyone wants it so bad. In fact, I want this book even in a higher grade. But first, I would like to get this in a newer case.
Okay.
This pairs nicely with my first appearance of the Teen Titans because this is the next group
I know it.
after that.
Yep.
This is the Brave and Bold number 28.
It is.
First appearance of the Justice League.
Wow.
This
wow.
is the crown jewel of my collection.
As it should be. That's awesome.
So I felt like I needed to pull off some heavy hitters when you said let's show off some DC Comics. Well, you know what? Let's show off probably my 3 favorite ones.
Yeah. So
I thought you were going
Steve,
to show a Section 8 book. I thought you were going to show off a Section 8.
Have you ever read DC Section 8? Don't.
Do it.
Don't. Trust me. No, it isn't.
I need to get more big books like that because now would be the time to buy some big books and specifically DC books, as it doesn't feel like they're really popping that much. So
yeah. first I want to say, if you want to share and be part of a book show and participate at home, you can share a cover with us on Instagram. Use the hashtag Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. So Steve, you might know this, but I don't know if you're aware of how far I've gotten on my progress. So I am working on, the beginning of last year, I set a 3-year goal for me to complete Justice League of America Volume 1. Not counting the 3 Brave and the Bolds, just all the issues of Volume 1. I am in single digits to complete this. And get this, Steve, get this. The ones I need, none of them are keys. I have all the big keys and all the keys already.
I'm pretty sure I saw the video where you had your Justice League #1, which is a book that I do not have. So
so I'm in single digits, and that feels pretty good. As a matter of fact, on my video dropping on Tuesday, I might have bought another one today. I might have found another one in the wild today.
Hey-o, nice, dude.
So I'm really excited about that. I mean, and then I'll figure out what to do about that Brave and the Bold. So in the meantime, those facsimiles have been coming out. You know, they have 28, 29, and 30, and I'm happy with that as placeholders for right now, at least.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
And then something else I'm going to do, Steve, I don't know if I've ever said this before. Something else I am going to do, once I complete all of Justice League Volume 1, I bought an extra blank sketch cover for the facsimile of #1. I'm going to get me a custom cover done.
Heck yeah, dude.
Just to celebrate. That's going to be my celebration of completing Volume 1.
What artist do you want to get?
I don't know. I'm not even at that. I don't even have a concept yet or an artist. I have an extra one, and it's there and ready to go for when I'm ready.
It's got to be
King's pretty good.
It's got to be Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Tom King. He'll write "sorry" next to his little. Yeah. And Steve, you mentioned you're going to a con. I'm assuming it's Planet Con. Is there anyone that you're excited about? Any creators or celebrities that you're excited about getting a chance to meet or interact with?
There's a couple.
Okay.
There's a couple. So I've seen her before, but I'm trying for a media pass, and I usually get them. So I'm hopeful that I get this. I'm going to try to interview Amy Jo Johnson.
Oh, nice.
Pink Power Ranger. I would like to do that. I hung out with Joey Fatone from NSYNC a couple years ago at the bar at my hotel, and we interviewed him as well for the channel. So I'd like to interview the Backstreet Boy, AJ McLean. That's going to be there. Freddie E. Williams is always one of the people that I like to see because he is a Kansas City guy. And so I love his art as well. Honestly, there's really no one else that I really need to see. Jimmy Palmiotti is always good. I mean, Jason, I guess I get some of my TMNT signed by Jason Aaron. He's the current TMNT writer. It's been a really good series ever since he took over because honestly, the previous however many issues with the Sophie Campbell was trash. And so I'm really excited that he's writing it. But I don't really think I'm looking at the list right now. Doug Mankey, I've got his signature on my Batman 635 and my Green Lantern 20 as well because he was the artist for those. But I don't really need to see him again. Kevin Nolan, I guess, is cool. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't. There's really no one on that list that I'm like super excited about. I'm just more excited to go hunt for some comics and hang out my friends.
Awesome. Well, that will make it great. And sometimes the books find you. You don't have to find the book. The book will find you.
Yes.
Just what I've learned is be receptive when the book finds you. Even if you're looking for something else, be receptive.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have books that I'm hunting for right now, of course, and they're mostly all DC Comics. Obviously,
sure.
So.
Awesome. Well, we wish you a successful con. We thank you so much for being part of the show tonight. It's been a while since we streamed, and so many channel milestones on my channel have happened with you, Steve, on your channel. Like I hit my 500 with you, and I've hit some other milestones being on part of your channel. So I can never thank you enough for sharing you're giving me a platform with your audience who have been so kind to me as well. And I'm so happy to have you on tonight, and I hope you'll come back and do the show again sometime.
I would love to, man. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully next time we get to some of these Batman books that we talked about.
Okay, we'll do some Batman next time. I think that would be good. So, yeah. I mean, there is a Batman Day later this year, if things work out. You would be great to swing back for. So
sounds good. I'll try to do that.
Please sub up if you're not already. Berk Family54 Comics. The link is in the description for this video. Tony, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going for a trip. I'm going to meet some cool people, so there's going to be a lot of content for that. So
cool.
Looking at some of the Planet Comic-Con guests, dude, that sounds like a fun con to go to. That's another one that is high on my list. Just because there's so many Batman Beyond people. They never come this far east. So.
Dude, so I always stay at the hotel that's connected to the con, so I never have to go outside.
Yeah.
And also that way I can just walk back to my room and relax whenever I need to. But all the celebrities stay there. So one time I was going down to go to the con, and it stopped at one of the floors. There's William Shatner just sitting right there in his wheelchair. And he's like, "You guys going up or going down?" We're going down. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going up."
No, I'd be like, "Well, I'm going up too. Let's go."
Yeah, beam me up.
Where are you going?
He had a bodyguard with him, of course.
Oh.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
We literally talked to William Shatner.
Yeah, that's cool.
One of my cool con stories is I was in Neil Adams' booth, and someone pulled the fire alarm. So he asked me and my friend to help carry some stuff out with him. Wow. So we did. When Neil Adams asked for help, we're like, hell yeah. We started grabbing the stuff for him, and we brought it out to him, and he's like, "Hey, thanks guys." He started signing our stuff for free, even though he's $50 at the time. And then Tom King and David Finch got to hang out. They came too. We just all happened to leave the same exit. We're all BSing, and they're signing our stuff for nothing. We got all that stuff for nothing. That's why I have an abundance of Tom King, David Finch, and Neil Adams, because I paid nothing for it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's actually a really nice guy. I've met him. He's actually a good dude. I just don't like his writing.
Yeah, he only lives like an hour, some change from here, for me. So
nice.
He comes to all the local cons too. So
sweet.
I see him everywhere. But yeah, it's nice to see him in the Adams before he left for the big LCS in the sky.
Yeah, I've never met him. I never got to meet him, so that's pretty awesome that you did.
Yeah, I met him twice.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, cool. This has been the greatest DC Comics show on YouTube, Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Have a fantastic week and join us again next Sunday night. Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
I like the old school Superman logo on that. Cool.
Yeah. And there's somebody here with us that has a special way of ending their videos, so take it away, Steve. You know what to do.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. This is Steve from Berk Family54 Comics. And as always, go Cats, Cowabunga, and it's morphin' time.